Hi, everyone. I'm Mitch Juricich, and welcome to a special one-hour edition of Hooked on the Niners.
And I'm Mark Naismith. 2 words, Colin Kaepernick. 2 more words, NFC champions.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So, okay. But I'm Jerry Walker, not Colin Kaepernick or Mark Naismith. We're going to talk playoffs.
We are going to talk playoffs, and we're going to have some special stuff during the hour, so you're going to want to hang around. And to help us with all that, we brought in Dan Brown, who covers the Niners for the San Jose Mercury News. We got him because we couldn't find anybody else. We'll have all that coming up right here on Hooked on the Niners.
Hooked on the Niners is brought to you by
Bay 101 Casino, located at 1801 Bering Drive in San Jose. They can be reached at 408-451-8888 or on the web at bay101.com. Since 1994, Bay 101 Casino.
Badges Cafe. Badges Cafe is located in the heart of Mountain View at 2423 Old Middlefield Way. You can reach Badges Cafe at 650-967-7477 or on the web at www.badges.com. Go Niners! College Plaza Shell. College Plaza Shell, located at 1400 West Hillsdale Boulevard in San Mateo, providing automotive service since 1987. You can reach College Plaza Shell at 650-573-7959. That's 650-573-7959.
Psst. Hey, need some video work done? We can do that. We do all that video stuff. We can even put your video on that internet thingy. At Peninsula TV, we do full-blown in-studio production, talk shows, performances, speeches, anything. Remote multi-camera production, on location, at your event. And for the budget-minded, single camcorder production in high definition. We'll take your video project from first idea to finished product. For more info, contact Peninsula TV.
Welcome back to Hooked on the Niners. We're going to get right to it. Dan, first of all,
hey,
thanks for being here. Yeah, let's get right to it. It's the storyline of the game. Have you ever seen Brian Jennings snap so well as he did in that game? He was just marvelous, I thought.
Unbelievable. It captured the nation's attention, imagination.
He is just an amazing guy. All right, I mean, it's the 500-pound gorilla in the room other than me. Colin Kaepernick, you've been around it a long time, so have you and I, and you've covered him for I don't know how many years, but I don't know that I've seen a performance like that. I'm not saying it's the best performance in the history of quarterbacking, but nothing like I ever saw.
Pretty impressive. The scary part was, well, the excitement, the electricity in that stadium built up. It was unbelievable. I've never seen that stadium so electric, so exciting. And then he throws the interception, and it just... And people around me are like, oh man, come on, there's a lot of football left.
Yeah.
Back him, stick with him, we'll be okay.
Yeah. Do you think that interception, the pick six, kind of refueled the quarterback controversy right at that moment?
Yeah, I think because that was the worst nightmare going in, right?
Oh, God,
here's this guy who's going to show his inexperience, he's going to be on the big stage in the play, and he's going to crack. Yeah. And he did crack for that minute. But I talked to some of the players afterwards, and they said, look, by the time he was back to the huddle, he's like, let's go make a play. Let's rebound. He wasn't rattled by the mistake. He got guys in the huddle, refocused again, and away they went.
Yeah. I'm guessing you went right from the Chardonnay to the Maker's Mark.
Immediately. Yeah. But, yeah, Dan's right. After that pick six, I think we were all like hands on face. And then 580 yards later, I guess things changed.
Yeah.
Astounding performance, total domination too by the entire team. You know, time of possession, just executed well the whole game. So that was a big victory, and clearly a game that I think they should have won, even though a lot of people were nervous about it.
Yeah. But you know what got me nervous about afterwards? The camera kind of honed in on him. I don't know if you saw this up in the press box or where you were sitting. He kept. You know, I thought that's a nervous. I don't know if he's out of his element, or whatever. But
it was a little chilly. It was a beautiful night.
Well, yeah,
but it was a little chilly, and you got to have something. I mean, he also did a couple of these too.
Right.
To warm up the biceps, right?
Yeah. Well, I used to do that to see if the right guard was working. But I mean, yeah, okay. But the stride, the 56-yard touchdown run, the stride.
Amazing.
And while he's outrunning the DBs, I thought, oh, they got the angle on him.
Right. That was the thing that impressed Patrick Willis the most among other people. He said, look, everybody in the NFL is fast. But to see somebody pulling away from DBs. It wasn't like he was just a step in front. He was pulling away from those guys. That was the impressive part.
The other impressive part, Mark, was I was listening to the postgame afterwards. They were saying that this was part of the game plan, was to have your quarterback running. This is new. I mean, I don't think you go into, the 59 Colts go, okay, here's our deal. We're going to run John Unitas 500 times.
Guy ran for 10,000 yards in college. So,
yeah, right.
Or passed for 10,000 and ran for 4,000. Some ridiculous numbers. And,
right.
And he knows that option run very well. And when he took off on the 56-yard run, you could see him see the play happen. When the guy closed on the corner, he just saw it and he just exploded. Yeah. So he's an astounding athlete. He plays with a lot of swagger, and I think he's really getting better with more of the subtleties of the game. That one little pass he threw to Frank Gore, that was something that's really evolved for him. I think everybody knows he can throw the ball through a car wash without getting it wet, but he's getting better every game.
Yeah.
There is running involved in the game planning. Remember, think back to last year's game against New Orleans Saints, the playoff game, the planned run for Alex Smith.
Yeah.
So the running is in there, but not the way this kid does it.
It's unbelievable.
Niners have never had a quarterback with a run over 49 yards prior to this season, right?
Right.
He's got 3 now?
Yeah, he's got 3 in the span of a few weeks. Yeah. And the thing that impressed me the most was, for all those runs, for all those electric runs, the Niners stayed multidimensional. Frank Gore was still running the ball. Absolutely. Kaepernick was finding Crabtree for those touchdown passes. It wasn't a one-trick pony. And that was the other question about Kaepernick is, can he do those little things, that little soft toss to Frank Gore? They were a multi-dimensional team.
And there was a Vernon Davis sighting. Did you see that? Did it happen at the ballpark?
His name rings a bell. But
and that pass was perfectly
thrown. It was perfect.
That was
sweet.
It was
absolutely perfect. And why don't we see more of that?
I think it's a chemistry thing.
But what's that? I don't get that.
Well, I mean,
I throw, you catch. There's the chemistry.
But in the time of, when you've got a linebacker closing in on you, when you've got defensive pressure in your face, he's thinking, who do I trust the most? And for him, it's Crabtree. For Alex Smith, it was Vernon Davis. That's their emergency valve, the guy they look to first in times of trouble. I don't know why Vernon has had trouble getting the separation. I talked to Kurt Warner last week, and he had an interesting observation. He just said it's the type of plays. With Alex and Vernon, it was Vernon running the seam route, which was the throw Alex liked to make, and it was the crossing patterns. And Kaepernick, for whatever reason, is throwing more to the outside. Mm-hmm. So that was his take on why Vernon is not getting as much action.
And, you mentioned Frank Gore was still involved a lot in that game. What gets me about this new pistol and with the option read now, which we're all going to have to, get in the old Funkin' Wagnalls and try to figure this stuff out. I think of all the new quarterbacks with Russell Wilson and RG3 and now Kaepernick, his fakes are just unbelievable. Beautiful. I mean, if you listen to any of the post-game stuff with, the highlights with Ted Robinson, who is just one of my favorites at the top of the charts. This guy is just great. He faked out Ted.
Yeah, Ted admitted
about 4 or 5 times. And, Ted's been around longer than dirt. I mean, he was at Candlestick before the streets were paved. Are you kidding me?
Another thing about Cap is his running ability helps Gore. It helped him in that game the other night. They were starting to be more concerned about Kaepernick, and then Gore pops through there.
I think it's time to get on the other side of the ball, don't you think? Defense played a hell of a game against...
Oh, you don't want to talk about this anymore?
No. Okay. The other side of the ball. What about that?
See, this is how it works.
What about that defense?
I thought you called the shot.
No, you just jump in wherever you want.
You told us we could.
Yeah, you can. Okay, absolutely. By the way, is this your first time on TV?
So far, so good?
So far, your first time? Because if it is, you made a good career move. So hanging around with 3, you're going to look real good. Anyhow, go ahead.
So enough of the defense. Let's talk special teams.
But I mean, facing a guy like Aaron Rodgers playing absolute at the pinnacle of that position right now, and I think he scared a lot of people, and well, he should have. And the defense just played a wonderfully good game. He had a pretty pedestrian game, and the kudos to the DBs. They really stuffed those wide receivers, and And, I think Rodgers was on defense as much as the 49ers were, so great effort there, too.
One of the things that we're at the mercy of whatever television will show us, and one of the advantages of you guys being at the game, it seemed like, and you guys can verify this, there's a lot of 6 DBs in the game and mostly 5s. So either Patrick Willis or Ahmad Brooks or both had to come off the field. Is that essentially what happened?
Yeah, it's essentially what's happened. And then the return of Justin Smith was a big deal, too, because they're so confident with Justin Smith in that they can stop the run without having to bring the safeties in the box and let the DBs do their thing. So bringing Justin Smith up, getting him back and letting the defense work the way it's supposed to was a big deal.
Yeah.
And not only because he can play and is a run stuffer, but having him out there, everyone else gets juiced up more. Everyone gets more fired up. All his teammates.
Yeah. Was that just a brace, or is that a new arm? What does that? I mean, it's not a $6 million man thing, right?
No, just a brace.
There we go with that stuff. No, it was a great defensive performance. I mean, Terrell Brown may be setting himself up now to be one of the real true cover corners in the league. I thought he had an amazing game.
And think about how his career started.
Yeah.
That's why people need to be patient with players.
Yeah.
You can't be a star overnight. But yeah, he had a great game.
Well, we talked about the story of him. He was supposed to be one of the top 20 players picked in the draft down at the University of Texas, was in a car at the wrong place, the wrong time, and so then, you get picked later.
DBU.
Yeah, DBU.
As he likes to call it.
There you go. David Akers, good for him to get one through the uprights, huh?
Good for him. I mean, we all know the kicking controversy leading up to the game. They brought in Billy Cundiff to maybe put a little heat on David Akers to serve as some competition. Akers is a great guy. He had a horrible year, and a lot of questions about whether he could do it.
How bad was the injury, Dan? I mean, it kind of got played down, but do you guys hear anything about that?
The Niners are so good about keeping the injury news under wraps, but it was a hernia that he had taken care of earlier, but he had aggravated it at some point during the season, and obviously he has not been the same guy. He was so dominant last year, so consistent, so reliable. He hasn't looked like that at all.
I know about hernias.
Do you? Yeah, okay.
Hernias.
We'll just leave that there. Yeah. The fact that Aldon Smith hasn't had a sack now, I think, in 4 games. Is it just the odds catching up to him? Is it that last year he played in about 40% of their plays from scrimmage, now he's played in about 90? Combination of both?
For me, it was down the stretch. It was the absence of the absence of the other Smith, Justin Smith. I think that Justin does so much of the dirty work in terms of occupying the blockers, letting Aldon Smith kind of swoop in and do the glory job of getting the sack. And with Justin Smith gone, Aldon Smith had to do more work. He found it wasn't that easy without somebody doing the dirty work. And Justin Smith is still not 100%. So that's going to be a question mark until we see Aldon Smith looking like himself again.
He responded to the press today when they asked him that question. He goes, many times there's 2 or 3 guys blocking me now.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't you?
Right.
With a guy with that kind of skills.
Exactly.
I think he's acquired a lot of attention.
No sacks, but he still got some pressure on during that game.
Yeah, he's pretty effective.
How's the phone?
We've got about a minute or so left here. Greg Roman. With the emergence of Kaepernick switching quarterbacks in midseason, having to basically get a new offense in there, not totally, but partially, I think his stock has probably risen, and I would say signed, sealed, and delivered to Jacksonville.
Yeah, well, I don't know about Jacksonville, but he's going to be a head coach. Harbaugh has said, these guys, both my coordinators, Greg Roman and Vic Fangio, they have head coaching aspirations, and they deserve looks. They've done a great job, and Harbaugh, because of his personality, gets so much of the credit, but those guys deserve a lot of it, too.
Doesn't he have a John Carroll connection with Jacksonville?
It's his college roommate.
That may favor Jacksonville, but,
think so.
But the right offer, he'll go where he wants to go.
And I would imagine wherever he goes, he might even think of taking Alex Smith with him, do you think?
Yeah, we'll see about that. There's also Norv Turner, who Alex Smith had really thrived under way back in 2006, has a new post in Cleveland. So, I kind of thought where Norv goes, Alex will go.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's quite the right fit, but that's one to watch.
Okay. All right, when we come back, we're going to give out some awards, our Players of the Year, the Honeys. Are you ready to be a judge?
Oh, let's bring it.
Okay. All right, when we come back, the Honey Awards right here on Hooked on the Niners.
Brought to you in part by Barati & Karad, CPAs, providing income tax and accounting services to individuals and the business community since 1986. Located at 1100 Larkspur Landing Circle in Larkspur. They can be reached at 415-461-8500 or on the web at www.pccpas.com. Let's go Niners! Woodmont Real Estate Services, a friend to the community since 1963. Woodmont Real Estate Services is located at 1050 Ralston Avenue in Belmont, California, and can be reached at 650-592-3960 or at www.wres.com. Vivace Ristorante. Vivace Ristorante is located in the heart of Belmont at 1910 Ralston Avenue. They can be reached at 650-637-0611. That's 650-637-0611 or on the web at www.vivacerestaurant.com. Gando Design. For 25 years, Gando Design is located in Redwood City. Their website is gandodesign.com/specials. Gando Design, a proud sponsor of Hooked on the Niners. Peninsula TV is now live streamed on the internet. Watch us from anywhere you have an internet connection, on cable, on the net, and on that fancy mobile device. Just go to pentv.tv.
Welcome back to Hooked on the Niners. All right, we're going to give out some awards here. It's been a wonderful season for the San Francisco 49ers. They've had more than their share of guys going to the Pro Bowl, more than their share of guys going on the All-Pro team. What did they have, like six guys?
The most ever on both those counts.
On both those counts, and what, like 8 or 9 to the Pro Bowl?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Something like that. And
a whole lot.
Who can keep track of that?
Right. 3 of their linebackers. It's unbelievable. Well, if you think those lists are any good, wait until you see this stuff here. We're going to now vote for, and you're going to have you be the judge in case if it's not unanimous or you need to break a tie. Okay. The Offensive Player of the Year for the 49ers, we'll start with you, Dub.
Well, I know what people are going to think. They're going to think Cap.
Yeah.
Right? Or maybe they'll think Frank Gore.
Yeah.
I'm going with Crab.
Crabtree. So we got a Crabtree, and why is that? Give me some, expand
85 catches, 1,100 yards.
Okay.
I think it's the most catches since Jerry Rice.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's probably the most yards since like 2002 or something.
And he has got some hands.
And a few touchdowns, 9 touchdowns or something.
Yeah.
And he's been a key. He has been a key to a lot of victories.
Okay, so there's the Crabtree.
I wanted to go there, but I got to go with Kaepernick.
Kaepernick.
Sure. I don't think they'd be where they are without him. He's been spectacular. I think he's energized his team, given him a completely different dimension. You know, beats New England on the road, beats New Orleans on the road, beat Green Bay. He's the man for me.
Yeah, he's beaten Rodgers, Breeze, and Brady. Huh. You know, that's not too bad. Okay, so you've got Kaepernick and we've got a Crabtree. So you're going to have to break this tie because I have Mike Iupati. And what, you don't?
Yeah, I'm declaring you the winner already.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to blow the lid up. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm picking him simply because in case he watches this show, he's the biggest guy, and I don't want to get pummeled. So who do you?
No, I think Mike Iupati and that offensive line. But that offensive line, you know, that's why Gore can run the way he can. It's why Kaepernick can run the way he can. Mm-hmm. Iupati is the best in the NFL at his position. I think he's the only guy you can say that of from the Niners roster. Yeah. And, you know, Gore has said this is the best offensive line I've ever played behind.
Right.
And it's because of guys like Iupati just blowing people off the ball. So I think he makes it happen.
So bottom line, you're going to get a certificate to Vivace. Did I win?
I'm declaring you the winner.
Mike Iupati is the offensive player of the world.
There you go.
See, I told you this morning. Side of the table. Do we have any Scotch tape? We'll tape these up at the next break.
Oh, boy.
All right, the defensive player of the year.
So, you want to start?
You start.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
I can start. I'm ready.
Okay. You're going to go with the obvious one?
No, the obvious ones are number 52 and number 53.
Okay.
But.
Okay.
Let him go first.
I think the obvious one might be Justin Smith. But,
well, that's who I picked.
I'm going to go a little different here. I really like Terrell Brown. I think he has solidified himself as a
player of the year.
Real close to shutdown corner. And if you don't have one of those guys, I think you're really behind the power curve too. Can stand out one-on-one, across from the best receiver, and he's sure going to get a chance to do it against the Falcons. But he's had a very quiet but great year. I think he's been terrific.
Okay, Terrell Brown.
Justin Smith.
Justin Smith, and why would that be?
Just his presence alone. Yep. And Dan summarized it pretty well with, he takes a lot of space there. He takes a lot of attention away from Aldon Smith. That whole side of that line is pretty impressive. They're both good. Aldon has all those sacks and all that. Justin's just his presence.
We actually had two guys in this last game, Justin Smith and Joe Staley, basically play with one arm. He was hurt.
What a job Staley did, too.
Yeah, he did.
On arguably one of the best linebackers in the league.
Too late, you potty one. Okay, well, I'm going with Isaac Sopoaga for the same reason that I picked Mike Iupati. He's the biggest guy on defense, and I don't want to get beat up. Not that these guys beat people up.
Did you see them walk out together with that scuffle during the game? And it started to escalate, and they walked out right next to each other, both of them, Sopoaga and Iupati. And if I turned around and saw those guys, I'd turn around and go somewhere else because I wouldn't want to
I think what caught them when they came on the field was they came on without their helmets, and the referee just kind of looked at them and said, get out of here. Okay, so you've got a Terrell Brown, a Justin Smith, and an Isaac Sopoaga.
I think we're going to have to defer. The smartest side of the table is over here. I think Jerry hit it with Justin Smith. I think you saw what happened when he was off the field. The whole defense unraveled. I mean, even in that game where he got hurt against the New England Patriots came roaring back. Seattle rolled up a ton of points. Justin Smith is what that kind of defensive universe revolves around, and he's the MVP.
A lot of guys
he said it so much better than me. I said his presence.
You were succinct.
Yeah. No Christmas card. No Christmas. I'm getting a little angry, actually.
Gift certificates in the bag now.
Special Teams Player of the Year.
Why don't you go first so we can change ours if we don't like.
Because his is always different. You notice how he takes a different approach?
Okay, I'm going for Andy Lee. Oh, I'm not writing it down already. I'm going for Andy Lee, and I'll tell you why. He punts and he holds. This guy is overworked and underpaid. Andy, if you're watching, I'll negotiate your next contract for you. What do you think of that? And he made the Pro Bowl and the All-Pro team. Very good player. So top that, guys.
48-yard plus kicking average.
Yeah.
Year after year.
Half of them inside the 20, inside the opponent's 20.
Should I just write him in?
Back. No, because the two of us, I kind of cheated and looked at. No, look at compare notes here.
Yeah, okay. Who do you have?
We voted the same, and I'll let Mark introduce him.
Yeah, it's a guy who is a little under the radar, but C.J. Spillman has certainly had a good year. You see him down there all the time. He made a great play yesterday, but very, very good special teams player. Fast, tough, great tackler. It was an easy choice for me.
You know the best part about you guys doing that? I don't have to listen to him.
Okay.
Let's come to that already. I want to hear Dan's take on C.J.
What's C.J.?
No, I was going to say Andy Lee, but I think you make a good point. CJ is just so underrated what he does in terms of getting down the field. He's always the guy making the tackle. He's always the guy around the ball when the ball pops loose. I like Andy Lee a lot for some of the reasons you said. It's not just that he boots the ball a million miles. He's an artist at what he does. He can drop the ball inside the 10. He can drop the ball, get the ball away from those big returners. I think he's his thought process is really underrated in terms of what he brings. Yeah. But I'll go with CJ. I think that's a good pick.
Okay.
Yeah, along with Andy Lee, the runner-up for the Silver.
Okay, the runner-up. All right. Okay.
Andy has such a touch on the ball.
He does.
He put one the other night. Just when it left his foot, it was like, what a thing
of beauty.
You never have to worry about him. He's never had a bad kick.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. The unheralded player of the year, the most underrated, whatever you want to call it. You want to start this time? Well,
I picked Bruce Miller.
Okay.
I think, here's a guy who, like a lot of people who play his position, don't get a lot of notoriety. And, I don't think that running game goes without a guy who can block as well as he did. And it's been well recorded here as a defensive player in college, and he's learned the position. It's only his, third year. Real tough guy and a good blocker, and can catch the ball, too, when called upon. I liked him a lot.
I'm being serious.
Okay.
Alex Smith.
Alex Smith.
Alex Smith got us started. He led the way. He had a great season. I think I don't know, you have to look at the NFL stats, but I think he finished leading the league in quarterback percentage in NFL stats.
Right.
Second, I think. Pretty high.
First or second, but he was right up there. He had a great year and helped us.
It's a good choice.
Yes. That's my unheralded.
Okay. Mine, in order to be heralded, you have to do something, right? So this is unheralded.
Wait. Alex did it.
No, see, you had your time.
Okay.
Now it's my time to say something.
He didn't get that heralded, unheralded.
Yeah,
No,
so
I
unheralded means you didn't do anything. So I go with A.J. Jenkins.
That could be more unheralded than that.
Right, exactly. So you agree?
No, I'm not going to say I agree.
See, okay, who do you agree with?
Well, I will throw out one more candidate before I make a ruling as I stall.
Sure.
But along the same lines, Vernon Davis, everybody, where's his catches, where's his catches? He had a terrific year blocking, which is the other responsibility of the tight end.
Yeah.
He didn't complain about it. He went from star to blocking tight end and did a pretty good job at it and didn't create any problems. So I think he deserves a little plug for that.
Let me throw out one, too.
Okay.
Another one.
It's an hour show.
I have it written down here, another one.
Yeah.
Frank Gore. He might be the most unheralded player in this decade, in the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. What did he do this year? He set team club career records for touchdowns, yardage, all kinds of things. He's a player, and when you need him, he's there.
Should I be the judge on this one since he threw out Vernon Davis?
Sure.
You had two. You had one. Bruce Miller. You had. I'm gonna go Alex Smith.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the Alex Smith thing. No offense.
That's a good
right?
choice, I think.
I mean, I should have gone with the guest, but you've irritated me twice already. So that's,
just twice. That's good.
Only because you're right.
Just twice.
So Alex Smith gets our unheralded player of the year. Okay, now here's our jackass of the year. An opponent
of the year.
Jackass. Yeah, no, jackass opponent of the year.
Present company excluded.
Yeah. Not yet. So the jackass opponent of the year. Come on.
I don't even like to say his name. Just thinking of him irritates me.
I think this is going to be all three guys.
Richard Seymour.
Seymour? Sherman.
Richard Sherman.
Richard Sherman. Yeah, Richard Seymour's a big guy that watches.
See, I couldn't even say his name.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Richard Sherman.
Well, I had him. That was the first name I wrote down.
Yeah.
But the guy who's, to me, is just a total punk, and he's been a punk ever since he's been in the league, is Cortland Finnegan.
Oh.
He's always pushing guys around. He's always woofing at guys, and I'd like to see you, Potty, and Sopawaga go out there and take him somewhere and have a talk with them. So we saw him with the Rams, obviously, this year more than we did with the Titans, but he certainly is. So that was pretty a strong pick for me once it got in my little brain.
Well, you won't have to decide because I'm going with Richard Sherman. So, but who would yours be?
Richard Sherman.
Who would yours be?
You start with the Seattle Seahawks
and move out from there.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So Richard Sherman gets it. We've got a couple of minutes left.
Stanford.
Wait. Not only does he get it as ours, he probably gets his New England's too.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone around
remember the footage on television of him following Tom Brady off the field saying, "It's not one player that makes a team. We kicked your butts." And all that.
Right.
Come on.
If you had to pick a play of the year, we won't put this up as an award. Mine would be, and we talked about it before.
Would be, and that's mine too. So I'll pick a second one after you pick yours.
Okay, we got about a minute. Mine is where two guys got hurt on one play.
At New Orleans.
At New Orleans by the same guy, 4 feet apart.
Yeah, Jonathan Vilma.
Jonathan Kyle Williams and Kendall Hunter. Yeah. We lose those two valuable pieces, one play, right? And they only brought out one cart to haul them out.
That's our worst play of the year.
Worst play.
So since that was my first pick too, I picked a second knowing you were going to pick that one.
Okay.
Pitch out to Ted Ginn.
Absolutely. Yikes. Well, yikes.
That's actually the one I picked too.
Well, you've seen them all. You traveled with the team. How about you?
Oh, the pitch, the option read pitch against the Rams that cost him that game, that was the worst play of the year.
Yeah.
And it raised all kinds of questions about the quarterback controversy and Colin Kaepernick, and is this the right decision? That was the low point.
And a safety in the end zone for grounding in the same game. So that was not his shining moment, but the Ted Ginn pitch was a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, in the next segment, we're going to go around the league and we're going to talk a little bit about the playoffs, and then we'll work into the Atlanta game in the segment after that, coming up on Hooked on the Niners. Look at all this stuff we got.
Best play of the
game. Best
play of the year.
Okay.
Hooked on the Niners is brought to you in part by Old County Custom Framing, located at 1339 Old County Road in Belmont. You can reach Old County Custom Framing at 650-596-2767. That's 650-596-2767. Go Niners! California Catering Company of San Mateo, Proudly serving our community at 233 West 20th Avenue in San Mateo. California Catering can be reached at 650-345-4811, extension 1. The San Mateo Credit Union, serving San Mateo County for over 60 years. They can be reached at 650-363-1725. That's 650-363-1725. Or on the web at www.smcu.org. San Mateo Credit Union.
Hey guys, Will Durst here for my good friends, well, acquaintances at Penn TV, the place for what's happening in San Mateo County, and lots more too. Visit Penn TV on your local cable TV provider or live on the web at www.penntv.tv. Hey, they do good stuff.
Welcome back to Hooked on the Niners. I don't know if we'll get a shot of it at some point, but we've got our players of the year and stuff right here on the table. If you'd like to come and take a look at them personally, never mind. We won't do that. And you guys said I forgot best player of the year.
Yeah.
Okay, best player of the year. Can I go first? Never mind, you go first.
No, you can go first.
Or how about our guest goes first? You've watched every game.
Yeah,
I'm sure you have it all.
Yeah, and I've got a kind of an odd choice for the best player of the year. But okay. David Akers, 63-yard field goal, week 1.
You know, that does it, Dan. Can we run him out of here? That was mine.
I thought I was going on a limb here. Because not only was it an amazing play, right?
Yeah.
But they beat the Packers at Lambeau Field to start the season.
Right.
With the message, hey, last year wasn't a fluke.
Right.
We're gonna be a contender again. So that was the biggie for me.
And that 63-yarder, unlike Jason Elam's that was done at Mile High, and like Tom Dempsey, who had 600 pounds in his toe. I shouldn't say that to poor man. You know what I mean.
That's wrong.
By the way, don't invite this guy. What was your play?
Well, actually, that was my runner-up, the 63.
Yeah.
Actually, only because when the camera showed him, after it, he went, wow.
Yeah, right. He was kind of wowed by it.
But my play was, and it wasn't regular season.
Yeah.
It was last Saturday. That 56-yard scamper.
Pretty cool.
Never saw anything like that in my life.
The Niners are working on top 10 games and top 10 plays for Candlestick to celebrate next year.
Right.
I think that game and that play both joined that top 10.
It has to.
Yeah.
It has to. That was really pretty spectacular. All right, let's go around the league a little bit, and I know you follow the rest of the league as well, too, don't you? Okay, yeah. He said facetiously.
Supposed to.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Are you Bud Geraci? No. All right. Baltimore, Denver. The first thing that got me about this is take a knee. The president of your team, now a lot of the heat's going on John Fox, but we all know the offensive coordinator of the Denver Broncos is Peyton Manning, right? I mean, let's not joke around about that. Take a knee. The president of your team is John Elway, captain comeback, 2 timeouts.
I have to take myself out of this one.
Why?
I was at Candlestick and I didn't see the end of that game. I saw bits and flashes of it while I was in line to get a refreshment or something.
Okay. Refreshment.
So
the guy was loaded
bottle of water.
Yeah.
So I kind of missed it, but I was a little surprised when I got to see the tying touchdown.
Yeah.
I was a little surprised.
38-35. Defense wins championships, right?
Yeah.
Holy moly, that was quite
look at all the scores this week. That's a good point. Look at all the scores.
Once in a while I make one.
Yeah.
About every 4 months.
Here to see
about every 4 months.
It'll be week 12 next year when he comes up with another one. So we'll invite you back then.
And I thought,
And your point is?
Baltimore won the game, and Denver didn't play well.
Yeah.
Surprising for a guy like Peyton Manning, too. So
I mean, the take anything was odd for 2 reasons. One is Peyton's not the kind of guy to take a risky throw, right? He's smart. He's going to know, okay, throw the ball away if there's no.
Right.
But you're also, as you just mentioned, that mile-high air, the field goal range does not have to be as close as it might be at sea level. So that's another factor. They're at home. They've got maybe one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. You saw in the Seattle-Atlanta game how things can turn around really quick, even when there's 30 seconds on the clock. So questionable decision.
Yes, absolutely a questionable decision. Yeah.
Take a knee.
Take a knee.
And now I know what you're talking about.
Oh.
Never take a knee. Remember the 49ers at Cincinnati Bengals?
Yeah.
A few years ago? And they were taking knees, and our defense was rushing. And they're
Kevin
like,
Fagan.
Yeah, they're like, what are you rushing about?
Yeah.
Kevin says, there's still time left.
Yeah.
And they laughed.
Yeah.
There was still time left.
Absolutely. The other thing that got me about that game was John Fox's face. I'm sure he's having it peeled off today. Did you see it? It started out pink, it went to red, and I swear to you in the fourth quarter it was purple. Now, either he had like 2 tubs of Jack Daniels there or something, but the cold was just getting to this guy. Do you remember when it happened to Tom Coughlin?
Oh, yeah, right.
Is there a danger?
Of course.
I mean, don't they have some salve?
You remember the word frostbite?
Yeah, but I mean, don't they have something they put on?
Bob McKittrick wouldn't even put on a jacket in that
He
kind
was
of weather.
forced to it when we played that's the Niners' last playoff win, I think.
The thing,
road playoff win is at Chicago. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And Coach McKittrick came out. It was 20 below wind chill.
Yeah.
Coach McKittrick came out with short sleeves, and Bill Walsh said,
No.
Please don't. Please come back here.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
all right.
To me, the other thing about the Baltimore Denver game that I think just consistently gets overlooked is Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Did he show up a little bit? Those 3 touchdown passes, and it's always, well, Baltimore will win with defense. It's Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and Terrell Suggs and all those guys, and maybe Flacco can limp us through. I don't think so. I think he's a very good quarterback.
Beautiful.
And that last pass was incredible. And
the defensive back took a horrible angle, jumped too early.
It doesn't matter. I mean, he still threw the ball very well. 331 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's pretty good on any sheet I've ever seen. Yeah. And they have a very, very good offense.
They do.
With Rice running the ball. So.
We'll see.
We'll see indeed.
All right, Atlanta, Seattle. This was the game that, mini Christmas. There was a part of me that didn't want anything to do with Seattle anymore as a fan.
Right.
But there was a part of me that wanted them back at, Candlestick to just pound them. Yep. And, the emotions just kind of kept jumping back and forth in that game.
Yeah, and I bought it too. When Seattle went ahead, when you roar back from that kind of deficit, you think it's a punch in the gut. You finished them off. How can Atlanta get off the canvas? Especially that Falcons team, considering their playoff history. Matt Ryan 0 for 3 in playoffs. Yeah. Tony Gonzalez never won a playoff game. Mike Smith's coaching history. So that was a big deal that they could kind of rally with all that on the line and get it together and get it done.
I personally think if they had lost that game, especially after the squib kick. Do you remember the squib kick at the end here?
How could you? Wow.
And with maybe 13, 14 seconds, something like that.
When he did that, I was like, oh, no.
If they had lost that game, I think he would have lost his job right there in the locker room.
It could have happened.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe on the sidelines.
Yeah, maybe on the sidelines, because Arthur Blank is one of those guys that's down there in a heartbeat. But, when Seattle went off the field 20-0 at the half, there was a part of me that said, this is not over. That is a real good team. They are a real good team. And I tell you this, I said on this show that I didn't think Russell Wilson would make it as a quarterback in this league. Well,
you were wrong.
Yes. And I'm not too big actually, I am too big. But I will admit it. Huh?
His post-game comments, you hear those?
About he was feeling bad right after the loss, but as he was walking in the tunnel, he thought, I can't wait until next year starts. Yeah. Now, this guy has got it all.
A lot of good young players on that team.
There really are. And I think, Jerry, they're going to become, if you go back to the 80s, what we had with New Orleans, home and away, we'd win here and they'd beat us down there. We won our share down there. But I think this division is going to be the best division in football.
Oh, it's a great division, and you've got the great rivalry. That Seahawks-Niners thing is going to be entertaining forever because of Harbaugh and Carroll and Richard Sherman and whoever else you want to throw in there. The Wilson and Kaepernick. That is going to be fun to watch for apparently a long, long time.
Yeah.
And those other 2 teams are going to be better too next year.
Well, don't forget that St. Louis has draft picks from Washington for the RG3.
And what did Steve Bono tell us that day? 15 first-year players on that Rams team last year?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Seattle's got as well.
You got to talk about Pete Carroll trying to ice the kicker and gives him the mulligan to try the field goal to, the wind, well, there's no wind, they're indoors, but to, see how things are. I wonder if coaches are going to stop doing that.
Yeah, they made a good point on the broadcast. They said the whole key is you call the timeout before the kick actually goes off.
Right.
Because if you get the kick off, that's a mulligan. You've had a dress rehearsal. So call the timeout before, let him get the jitters, let him get the anxiety, go through his mental preparation and disrupt that, but not the kick itself.
Yeah. Do you play golf?
No.
Oh, so you know what a mulligan is, though?
You taught me before the show.
Okay, yeah.
What I enjoyed was the announcers trying to figure out what Pete Carroll was doing, all his antics afterwards, like who called timeout. Well, I think he was concerned about like why'd they snap the ball since I called timeout.
Right.
But it was like who called, and then they show him timeout.
Yeah, right. Exactly. All right. Texans and Patriots. I'll just throw this to you. What's wrong with Houston? I mean, could it be just missing Cushing? I mean, could one guy? We saw that Justin Smith means so much to the 49ers, and I know Houston lost Cushing at the beginning of the year, but this team led the league for a long time with the best record, and then they just go away. Or is it Schaub? Is he just not good?
Well, and then also, let's not forget, they played a pretty good team against Belichick, who had a bye week to prepare.
Yeah.
So what's wrong with the Texans? I think in that case, all the things you just said. It was a bad matchup, and that was a mismatch.
And outdoors.
Yeah.
You know, New Orleans won a Super Bowl a couple years ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But indoor teams notoriously don't play well outdoors. Yeah. Especially this time of year and weather.
Tom Brady.
He's good.
See, we didn't have to wait 12 weeks.
He's really very good.
You might want to lead a column with that someday.
I mean, the thing to me, aside from just how magnificently he plays the position, is, you know, Gronkowski went out again yesterday, and everybody's like, oh gosh, doom and gloom and doom. So then what does he do? He starts throwing the ball to the backs, right?
Yeah.
And Shane Vereen catches two touchdowns, you know, because like, okay, well, this guy's gone, I'll just find somebody else to throw it to. And boy, he was distributing the ball with, what did Welker catch, about 18 balls yesterday? And he's just so terribly excellent.
Sort of reminds me a little bit of that number 16 the Niners used to have.
Yeah, and he passed him on the number of victories in the playoffs. But I mean, you know, that was bound to happen. And I mean, we'd all like to see, you know, Joe's record stand, but you know, they're made to be broken. But Vereen is starting to look like he did at Cal.
Yeah.
Remember, he had the 2 concussions kind of back to back, and it dropped his draft stock. And you know, the Patriots got him. I don't know if they drafted him.
He's fairly high. He's like a third.
Did they draft him?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. But they hung in there with him, and it looks like it's starting to pay.
I think he's a second rounder.
Pay off. By the way, did you see Belichick when he was talking to the defense on the sideline, and Brady scored on the long pass? And he just kind of looked up the score. Okay, here we go. You know, and just kind of like
turned right back and
started talking again.
You know, putting Stephen Ridley in this lineup has really helped them, because that's been such a missing element for them, is not being able to run the ball, and now they can. So from one of Jerry's favorite places too, from the LSU University, he's a very good back.
That's a good team. That team, not only does Brady remind me of Joe, that whole organization reminds me of the 49ers.
Well, didn't they take their plan and just kind of implemented it, and away they went. Although we had a coach that was a little bit nicer to the media and all that stuff. You're okay with coaches that are nasty during press conferences?
I can't wait for potential Bill Belichick, Jim Harbaugh press media day before the Super Bowl.
You have to be sure to call me.
I'll see if we could fill up this page with quotes.
No, I think here's all the paper you're going to need when you go down.
I'll bring a Post-it note.
Right, exactly. All right, we come back. We're going to preview the big playoff game against Atlanta right here on Hooked on the Niners.
Hooked on the Niners is brought to you by
Bay 101 Casino, located at 1801 Bering Drive in San Jose. They can be reached at 408-451-8888 or on the web at bay101.com. Since 1994, Bay 101 Casino.
Badges Cafe. Badges Cafe is located in the heart of Mountain View at 2423 Old Middlefield Way. You can reach Badges Cafe at 650-967-7477 or on the web at www.badges.com. Go Niners! College Plaza Shell. College Plaza Shell, located at 1400 West Hillsdale Boulevard in San Mateo, providing automotive service since 1987. You can reach College Plaza Shell at 650-573-7959. That's 650-573-7959.
Hey, did you know that Peninsula TV is available to over 230,000 households in San Mateo County?
And then there's the internet. We stream all of our programming on our website, pentv.tv.
Our website has everything you need to know about what's going on in San Mateo County.
From kids to healthcare, from sports to business, from politics to lifestyles.
Peninsula Television, your independent source for news, information, and entertainment since 1999.
All right, welcome back to Hooked on the Niners. Raise your hand if you're going to watch the game Sunday. Look at that. Look at all the people in Livermore. Can you
got
imagine?
way up there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Atlanta. First thing I think on turf, probably like most other teams, but the 49ers seem a step faster. And, you know, most teams are, but I mean them across the board. Everybody, their offensive line, the whole gamut.
Yeah, that's a good point about the offensive line. I mean, guys like you, Potty, who can really pull and get out there and make things happen. And Kaepernick, if he's that fast on a kind of a moist candlestick turf, what's he going to do in Atlanta?
Probably make him wear track shorts and carry a baton or something. I don't know. But,
Usain Bolt, Kaepernick.
Yeah, somebody said that today, that he was a descendant of Usain Bolt. I don't know, or whatever it was. But
I didn't say that.
Yeah, no, it wasn't you. Tough place to play, be indoors. You think the noise is going to bother him?
Real noise, yes.
It bothered him in Seattle.
It'll bother.
Didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, but Seattle is notorious. I mean, Seattle's worse than even the Dome Stadium. That place is insane, to the point where players suspect that they're piping in artificial noise because it's beyond human.
Yeah.
You know, Kaepernick held up really well in the road venues at New England, which is no picnic, and he played really well in the Superdome when they went to play the Saints. Yeah. You know, I think he's a little bit tested in that sense. It won't be new to him. He's learned how to do the communication with the hand signals and get stuff to the line. I think he'll be okay.
I was kissing up to the guest and I jumped away from you.
I forget what we were talking about.
No, the noise. Will it bother Cap?
I think it'll affect the team a little bit. I don't know if it will bother them.
Yeah.
They will have ways to get around it.
Yeah.
But yeah, indoor stadium at Atlanta. The Niners have a history of not playing well in Atlanta.
Yeah.
The crowd will be crazy.
Billy White Shoes Johnson. Oh. He was down on the one. He was.
I thought
we got jobbed. I'm still mad.
I thought he was going to come out of the stands.
Okay.
I thought he still hasn't scored though. I thought he was going to come out of the stands that last drive. I really did.
Yeah, right, exactly. Probably the statement of the obvious, but I'll just throw it out there. Probably more Kaepernick running. You think that'll be built into the offense?
Absolutely. I think they're going to just want to play a balanced game and keep Matt Ryan and those 4 receivers off the field because that's their strength, right?
Yeah.
You know, arguably the best receiving core in the NFL, right? With White and Julio Jones and Gonzalez and Harry Douglas.
DB now too,
Julio Jones.
He intercepted.
What a beast.
He's got an interception.
Yeah.
And, you know, they kept mentioning yesterday, overly so, that the Falcons defense has had trouble with running quarterbacks, as showed yesterday. Right. Of course, a lot of NFL teams were chasing Russell Wilson around this year, including the Niners, but they had a tough game with Cam Newton,
I would say,
too.
To bring those two things together, you know, the way to take the crowd out of a game is hog the ball.
Exactly.
So if they're running the ball and wearing down the clock and getting the fans a little impatient, you know, that would probably be a good recipe in Atlanta.
Yeah, the only reason I asked that is it was documented in the papers and the interviews with the coaching staff that Greg Roman said that they purposely withheld putting running plays in for Kaepernick until the playoffs. Is basically, I'm kind of paraphrasing that. So do you think he's going to try to go some way different, or now that they've found this thing, well, not found it, they already knew they had it, they're going to use it more?
If it works, use it.
Yeah, yeah.
What's Dan think?
Yeah, no, I think the Niners, because of their playoff, they were so comfortably entrenched in the playoffs down the stretch that they could just dial back, play vanilla. You know, against that Arizona in the season finale, they didn't have to show anything. They knew they were going to be probably in this spot, so they've been holding stuff back. I don't think they care whether the Falcons start planning for Kaepernick running, because just the doubt, just having to prepare is a big advantage for the Niners, because, you know, it's tough to stop even if you know it's coming, and if you're worrying about that, the Niners have options.
Which just leads me into this now. It seems, and you know, the theme of this show is it's the we never played or coached approach. We don't know what we're talking about. But it seems to me that in this pistol read option, that if it's done right, and Kaepernick seems to be the guy that does it the rightest, if I can invent a word there, with that grammatically correct? Or, okay.
He does it the leftist too sometimes.
Don't tell Mark Purdy. That it's almost undefensible. Which now you've got Mike Nolan down there, who's had a great year, former 49er coach, is looking at this. Do you think it's defensible?
Well, I mean, I think anything is defensible if you play it right, and anything is unstoppable if you play it right. I mean, there was the old Lombardi thing, right? You could do the Packer sweep as long as you executed perfectly.
Right.
So, you know, I think that with Kaepernick, he's got so much experience in that from what he did at Nevada.
Right. Yeah.
That helps. You know, this is his comfort zone, this option read, his running and throwing, and the fact that he now has a little bit of a longer leash to do both things. You know, that's his zone. That's where he belongs. So, I think.
I think that I think other coaching staffs don't realize his quickness and his speed.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that plays into it working. If it doesn't work, go a different route.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to argue with this new excellent combination of Kaepernick to Crabtree. I mean, yes, the last couple of games have been great. Concern you at all that, you know, nobody else is catching a lot of balls? And, you know, defensively, if I'm Mike Nolan, I'm going to try to get a lot of people in Crabtree's face. You know, they've got to get some people out there that catch some more footballs.
Well, that's one of the things I wrote down was, you know, is Crab going to see in the rest of the playoffs here? You know, hopefully there's more double coverage, or they have Asante Samuel.
Sure.
Could they just say we're going to have Asante Samuel take him away?
I think it's likely.
They would try that or more coverage.
Yeah.
I'm being serious when I say this. If Jenkins plays, we might see some catches out of Jenkins, some plays out of Jenkins. I'm serious.
Okay.
I'm serious.
Okay, that's all right.
Remember next week.
Yeah, I will.
J-Dub.
Yeah, J-Dub, that's right.
It's going to be on tape here.
He just got back from Hawaii. He had like 8 gallons of Mai Tai.
You know, one thing about that, Kaepernick said the other night when the 20-yard touchdown run that he had, the first touchdown, he said he looked up, they were doubling Crabtree. That's when he took off to run. So that's the price you might have to pay if you're going to give Crabtree defensive attention. Kaepernick can just tuck and run.
Just for the record, in the early 1960s, it was 60, 61, 62. The 49ers unleashed the shotgun offense with Red Hickey, and they were just going famously, like 3 or 4 games, just winning by big shutouts. Clark Shaughnessy of the Chicago Bears, just way before your time. Clark Shaughnessy found a way to stop it, and they did. I think everything is probably stoppable at some point.
Especially in the NFL.
Yeah.
People find ways to stop it, but
yeah.
But if you're talented enough, you can get it done.
One of the things that I think might not be stoppable in Atlanta is our offensive line against their defensive line. And when I say our, you have to forgive us. You know, we say our. And Frank Gore I think, could possibly have a field day in this game.
Yeah, that'd be fine with me.
I think your offensive line did
a
heck of a job.
Yeah, thank you very much. You know how much money I pumped into this team to say our.
And the Falcons, you know, they're missing a big piece, and I'm drawing a blank on the name.
John Abraham.
Yeah, he's out. That's a big deal.
That's huge.
So
he was the guy that hurt Alex Smith the first time.
Yeah.
A number of years ago. That is a big deal, and I think we could have our way with them, but. You brought up something that I thought was good. This is the 3rd time today. This is it's an hour show. That's why. The wide receivers, you know, Roddy White, Julio Jones. That is a little bothersome to me because they're big.
How about Tony Gonzalez? He's pretty good. Not a wide receiver. And the other kid who plays Douglas can run. So, you know, they've got to get a little pass rush on Ryan, and they've got to play tough in the secondary. 49ers defense is fast enough to play with these guys, but this is I think the best receiving group in the league.
Yeah, probably is. There's well, we'd have to think about it, but it's up there. Matty Ice, does that scare you?
No, it doesn't. He's a good quarterback.
Yeah, but you can't have a nickname when you first come into the league, can you?
He earned it.
You got to earn it.
He earned it, I think. He was. How many wins did they have at home with him, and allowed to come from behinds?
Yeah.
He earned it.
Yeah.
I think maybe he's now Matty semi-frozen or something.
Right.
But he's good. I worry about Matty Ice having a breakout.
Matty thawing out.
Do you know our nicknames here? No, this is the Grump. This is the Grump, the Dub, and the Tub. So that's our funny stuff.
Matty Ice.
Okay.
They're good. They're the Rodney Dangerfield of the year. I mean, they haven't got an ounce of respect this whole year. And
them and Houston.
They're still winning football games, but I think Atlanta more, right?
Yeah.
Their coaching staff is pretty darn good.
Sure. Yeah.
Pretty good. Did you see that one scenario with Terry Robisky talking to his receiver when his receiver was upset about a play? Mm-hmm. Calmed him down, came back in, the kid had a big long play later.
Yeah. How do you think the 49er defense will hold up against these guys?
I think they'll do well. I mean, the big challenge early in the year was when Calvin Johnson came in red hot. It was a big receiver, you know, bigger than the Niners' defensive backs. They figured out a plan. They figured out a plan, and they got it done. And they didn't shut him down, but he had a very quiet game, one of his quietest games of the year.
Yeah.
So they can handle the big receivers.
Well, you talk about unstoppable. That guy's probably right at the top of the list. He's just a
pretty good
monster.
Friday's had some games against us.
Yeah, he has had some games against us. And there's been a history of games, as you were saying, down in Atlanta. I've forgotten the name of the running back for Mike. For Atlanta?
Robert Turner.
Robert Turner. That looks like a little bowling ball with those big thighs.
I'd like you to say that to him.
Yeah.
He's got your potty with him.
Yeah, exactly.
Got his back.
Reminds me of William Andrews.
Yeah. William Andrews.
Remember in those days?
William might have been a little bigger than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys did not want to hit William Andrews.
Yeah, and Jaquiz Rogers.
It's fast.
Look at these two. Thank you. See, you don't get this kind
Tom
of.
Brady is
good.
You don't get this kind of info anyplace else
Got it.
On the
It
planet.
reminds me a little bit of LaMichael, exactly.
Mm-hmm. What about the advantage of the 49ers having played in a NFC Championship game before? Sour taste in the mouth, and Atlanta has not. This Atlanta bunch hasn't.
You know, I never know what to make of that because,
yeah,
you know, the Eagles made it a string of years in a row, and all that experience didn't do them much good in the NFC title game, and they made it once.
Yeah.
You know, Atlanta, as the Braves know, you can make the playoffs a lot, and that playoff experience is not always going to translate to getting through. You know, you got to wonder with the Falcons, you know, what is the sense of relief factor going to be now that they've won one? They don't have to answer the choke questions anymore. You know, does that mean a breakthrough, or does that mean they're going to ease up? I don't know, but I'll be curious to see how they respond now that they've won a playoff game.
I think they ease up.
We've got just a little over a minute left, so it's time to get to the scores. Just tell me.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay, 2 minutes. So we have 2 minutes left.
A score and a synopsis.
Yeah, a score and a synopsis, so we can get it in under 2 minutes.
I can take my time then.
Otherwise, Garrett's going to kill us.
I would have said a couple of weeks ago, I would have said low scoring.
Yeah.
But the Niners seem to be putting some points on the board, and I think Atlanta has that ability. So I'm going to go with a similar score to last week, but I'm going to say 45.
Oh boy.
I didn't say who had 45 yet.
Yeah.
45-30.
45-30. Wow.
Well, I can't tell you the score, but I agree with Jerry. I think there's going to be a lot of people standing in the end zone on both sides. I think the Niners will prevail. Well, could be.
Okay.
That'd be fun.
All right.
I think their 49ers have probably got 31 to 34 points in their pocket, and I think their defense will hold Atlanta to less.
So 34 to
31 to 34 to something in the high 20s. It'll be a pretty close game.
You know, Mark,
I think the 49ers are going to win the game.
Is the team gets a number.
I think the 49ers are going to win the game.
Okay, all right.
I think the Niners.
How would we know the score?
Do you want to jump into
70,
this ridiculous?
like
Would you like to knock off early? We've only got about 30 seconds left.
I think the Niners will score over 20.
Yeah.
And Atlanta less than 20.
Okay. Dan,
I'll say they win 28. Niners win 28-17.
All right.
Okay.
That's like a better answer.
And I will go on record and say that the 49ers are going to drop a 60 burger on Atlanta, and it's going to be 60-14.
See, that's why this is.
Yeah, right.
Hey,
can't thank you enough for carving out the time. It was all right. And just to let you folks know that should the 49ers win the NFC Championship game, look for a Super Bowl special, or maybe after seeing this, you won't look for us ever again. But look for a Super Bowl special right here. We'll see you next time on Hooked on the Niners. All right, that was good stuff, man.
If they play the Super Bowl, we might want to bring him back.
Let's never go.